Welcome all of you to the video lecture series on computational fluid dynamics, development, application analysis. This lecture is on numerical differentiation and integration. The details of this lecture can be found in the chapter 4 on essentials of numerical methods for CFD of the companion book on introduction to CFD. This lecture is on topic 2, essentials for CFD, which corresponds to the last subsection of the section essentials of numerical methods. After presenting the finite difference method and the iterative methods, this is the last lecture on the subsection essentials for numerical methods. So in CFD, we need finite difference method for discretization of boundary condition, while we are using finite volume method for the discretization or algebraic formulation of internal grid points or the yellow circles which are shown for the grid points. We need iterative methods for the solution of the algebraic equation that we formulate later on in finite volume method. Whereas we need finite numerical differentiation and integration to calculate the engineering parameters from the discrete data that we obtained from the CFD simulations. Note that after we solve the system of algebraic equations at internal grid points, we obtain flow properties. And from the discrete distribution of the flow properties, we have to calculate engineering parameters by numerical differentiation and numerical integration. So this numerical method, numerical differentiation, numerical integration, these numerical methods are used to calculate the engineering parameters. So I'll start with differentiation formulas for numerical differentiation. Then I'll go to the integration rules for numerical integration. And then finally, I'll take an example problem to demonstrate the application of numerical differentiation and numerical integration to CFD. Note that numerical differentiation and integrations are needed under two conditions. When you have a tabulation of data, and if you don't have any functional variation, but if you have a tabulation of data, and if you want to get a derivative or an integral value, then from the discrete data or a tabular information of the data, you need numerical differentiation, since you don't have a function for differentiation or integration. Whereas in those cases, even if you have a function which you cannot differentiate or integrate, then you need numerical differentiation or integration. So these are the two conditions under which you need numerical differentiation and integration. As I mentioned, the application of this numerical differentiation and integration is used to calculate the local value and total value of engineering parameter. Numerical differentiations are needed to calculate the local values of heat flux and in a heat transfer problem, and shear stress for a fluid dynamics problem. So at the boundary grid points, I've shown blue circles. For each blue circle, in a conduction problem, let us say, you want to calculate conduction heat fluxes. So for that, you do numerical differentiation. Whereas you need numerical integration, because once you have obtained, let us say, conduction fluxes on all the blue circles boundary grid points, then using the conduction fluxes, if you want to calculate total rate of heat transfer, so to calculate the total values of rate of heat transfer for heat conduction and total shear force on a wall, we use numerical integration. So these are the applications of numerical differentiation and integration. So differentiation is used for local values and integration for total values of engineering parameters. So here, if after CFD simulations, once you have obtained, let us say, for a heat conduction problem, temperature distribution. So from the boundary conditions, you know the temperature at blue circles. After solving the discretized linear algebraic equations, you've obtained the temperature for the yellow circles. So once you know the temperature of internal grid points, these yellow circles, and the boundary grid point, the blue circles, then let us suppose at the bottom wall you want to calculate the local heat flux. The bottom wall is a horizontal wall, so heat flux is in the y direction. To calculate Qy, you need dt by dy. So to calculate dt by dy at this point, what you can do is to calculate dt by dy at this point, if you are using first order forward difference, use first order forward difference, which I discussed in the topic of finite difference method. You can take the temperature of this grid point. You can write a formula where you use the temperature of this point minus temperature of this point divided by the distance between the two. Similarly here and here. So with this, you can get for each boundary grid point, you will get one value of conduction heat flux. Once you have obtained the conduction heat flux on this 3 points, which are spaced in a uniform spacing of delta x, then you can do numerical integration to calculate total rate of heat transfer or mean heat fluxes. Similarly, on the right wall, top wall, and left wall, first by numerical differentiation, you calculate the conduction heat fluxes, and then you calculate by numerical integration, you calculate the total rate of heat transfer from the various walls. So this is a computational stencil for boundary grid point by point numerical differentiation by first order forward. Note that for the bottom wall and left wall, you use a forward difference. For the right wall and top wall, you use backward difference. To get a derivative at the boundary grid point, you have neighbors only on one side. So this is what is called as one-sided differencing, where you use forward difference for the left and bottom wall and backward difference for the right and top wall. And you use numerical integration by considering the boundary grid point values of the local heat fluxes. The stencil is shown as arrows which are one-sided for differentiation. And so this one-sided arrows are for differentiation, which are shown by blue color. And the two-sided arrow, which are shown by this white color, corresponds to the stencil for numerical integration. So that was about the differentiation, introduction to numerical differentiation and integration. Now I'll present the various equations which are used for differentiation and integration. So let us first start with differentiation formulas. While presenting the finite difference method, I mentioned that by using Taylor series expansion, you can have first order forward difference or first order backward difference, where you have in the first order forward difference, you have non-zero values for f and c, all the other values are zero, all the other coefficients. So basically what I'm showing is to calculate any derivative, x derivative, and here this is for y derivative. This by Taylor series expansion using one-sided differencing, we can express it in terms of certain neighbors and the central value. So here we are considering maximum of 3 neighbors on each side of a grid point. So that when we consider 3 neighbor, it is I, when I comma j is the point under consideration, then the 3 neighbor ahead of it will be I plus 1, I plus 2, and I plus 3. And 3 neighbors be on the left side of it will be I minus 1, I minus 2, and I minus 3. So this is a general expression which I am showing you. And the corresponding coefficients, the coefficients are this triple F, double F, F, C, V, double V, and B. These coefficients are shown in this table, which corresponds to table 4.4 of the companion book. The values of these coefficients, wherever there is no value, it corresponds to 0 value. So for forward difference, you see their non-zero values are only in the point under consideration, one forward value. In the backward case, you have point under consideration and the backward value. And you always also note that for forward, you have non-zero coefficient only for the points which are ahead of the point under consideration. And for backward differencing, higher order backward differencing also, you can see you have point only. So in first order, you have 1 point behind. For second order, you have 2 points behind. For third order, you have non-zero coefficient of 3 points behind. Whereas for forward, first order, you have 1 point ahead, second 2 point ahead, and for third, you have 3 point ahead, non-zero coefficients. So this represents the derivation of this I had shown in finite difference method for first order and second order accuracy. Similarly, you can also derive for third order accuracy. The detailed derivation is given in the companion. So using this expression, I will take an example problem and show you that using this formulation for the problem which we have earlier solved in the previous topic on iterative methods, we have solved a problem which has an exact solution. Corresponding to that problem, we will use these formulas corresponding to first order, second order, and third order. And by numerical differentiation, we will obtain the value of the heat fluxes at the various conduction heat fluxes at the various walls of the plate. After the differentiation formula, let us go into the integration rules, the equations that we use for numerical integration. For numerical integration, once we know, let's suppose these are the points where we know conduction heat fluxes, and we want to obtain the total rate of heat transfer. The strategy which is used for numerical integration is we can do piecewise integration, where let us suppose if we are considering 2 points and assuming a linear variation between these 2 points, then you take the next 2 points, then you take the next 2 points. If you are taking 2 points, that in a sub-interval you have 2 points. So this is for or one panel. This one delta x is like panels. So you have this is x1 is 0. So you have I max minus 1 panel, and if your sub-interval, the interval in which your integration consists of one panel, then this results into first order numerical integration. Whereas if you integrate considering 3 points, then you have 2 panels. So if m is the number of subintervals within I minus 1 panel, so here this line is divided into I minus 1 part. So there you have I max minus 1 panels, and if you have one subinterval in one panel, then you get a first order representation. If you have 2 panels in one interval, then you get a second order. Why you get a second order is because in a first order, you assume a linear variation. In any linear variation, there are 2 constants which you have to determine. And those 2 constants you can determine by knowing the value of x and the corresponding function value at 2 points. For linear equation, you have 2 constants and you have 2 equations. At x equals x1 is equal to 0, you have f1, x2 is equal to delta x, you have f2. Whereas if you if you take a quadratic variation, in a quadratic variation, you have ax square plus bx plus c. So you have 3 constants, a, b, c. Now to calculate those 3 constants, you need 3 point values. So you have to take 3 points which corresponds to 2 panels. So in case of quadratic, when you locally assume a quadratic variation, you have to consider 2 panels in a subinterval. So this is the formula which is used, where so what we are basically doing in the first order representation, we approximate linear variation of the conduction heat fluxes between any 2 consecutive grid points or yellow circles. So we integrate from here to here, and then here to here, and so on. So we basically integrate. So we have I max minus 1 division panel. So for each panel, this is the formula which we use, and we sum it up for all the panels, where I is varying from 1 to I max minus 1. So we sum it for all the panels, and for each panel we have an equation. This is the formula for first order numerical differentiation. To do second order numerical integration. To second order numerical integration, you consider in second order you assume a quadratic variation. When you assume a quadratic variation, note that the limit of the integral is xi to xi plus 2x. So it is, when you take any point, it is varying from that point to 2 delta x ahead of it. So you take 3 points. Between 3 points, in this case, note that the limit of the integral is between xi to xi plus delta x. Here it is 2 delta x. So this is for one subinterval. This formula is for one subinterval consisting of 2 panels, and then you sum it up over all subintervals. Note that when you consider 2 panels, then the number of subinterval reduces to half. Then in this case, you can see it is varying from 1 to 3 to I max minus 1. Here it is varying from 1, 3, 5 to I max minus 2. Because when you go to I max minus 2, it takes 2 points ahead, which is I max minus 1 and this is I max point. Now I'll show you the formula derivation for the first order numerical integration, which is called as trapezoidal rule. In a trapezoidal rule, I will show you the derivation for this one subinterval when you do an integration. So as I mentioned, for any 2 points, we consider the left point as xi, right point at xi plus delta x. The value of at xi is fi, at xi plus delta x, the value is fi plus x. So when you assume a linear variation between in a subinterval which consists of one panel, then you have two constants a and b, and you have two x locations where you are given the function value at x equals to xi, at x equals to fi, at x equals to xi plus and at x equals to fi plus. So you substitute this into this linear equation, and there are two constants a and b. You can obtain those algebraically. Once you know AB, then you substitute this AB into this equation to take here as an integrand, and you integrate from xi to xi plus delta x. So this term, which is given as the first order numerical integration, leads you to this formula, which corresponds to like an area under a trapezoid, where you take the value of fi plus 1 divided by 2 into the distance between the 2 points, which is delta x. So this is the area under a trapezoid. That's why this is called as a trapezoidal rule. And in a trapezoidal rule, between any 2 points, we assume a linear variation for numerical integration. And for each subinterval, which consists of one panel, this is the formula which we use. So then finally, if you have to obtain in the complete range, complete domain, then you have to add over all the subintervals. This is for first order numerical integration. And when you want second order, then you locally assume quadratic variation. Then to derive this formula, basically I am showing you this integral. I'm not showing you the summation, which I'll show you in the next slide. Then in this case, you have three constants a, b, c, and you have three x location where you know this function xi plus delta xi plus 2 delta x. So here I'm showing you the integral for one subinterval which consists of two panels in the Simpson's 1/3 rule. So by substituting at xi at x equals to xi, at equals to fi, and similarly at xi plus delta x and xi plus 2 delta x, you can obtain this a, b, and c, which are as shown here. And then when you substitute this a, b, c into this formula and bring it here and do the integration, note that in first order the limit of the integration is xi plus delta x. Here it is 2 delta x, because you are taking in the interval 2 panels. So once you integrate, you get finally this formula for one subinterval. This is the derivation which I have shown you for trapezoidal rule, and this is called as Simpson's 1/3 rule, where you have delta x by 3. And in the next slide, we will sum up over all the subinterval, and I will give you the formula for this first order integration and second order integration for the complete interval. So numerical integration is summation of the piecewise integral, as I mentioned. So a piece is made up of 2 points in a trapezoidal rule, where it is made of 3 points in a Simpson's 1/3 rule. And in a trapezoidal rule, I had shown you this formula for one subinterval. But if you sum it up over all the interval, when you apply it for 1, it is f1 plus f2 by 2. When you apply for 2, it is f2 plus f3 by 2. So that way, you get twice of F2. So the first and the last in this formula, the first and last will have the coefficient 1, but all the intermediate values, since they appear twice, okay, like when you use it for 1, you get 2, but when you use it for 2, you also get 2. So you get for the first and the last value, so which is the leftmost and the rightmost point, you have only coefficient as 1. For all the internal points, you get a coefficient of 2. So this is the formula for the complete domain for constituting all the points, and this is for one subinterval, which I derived, which derivation I showed in the previous slide. Similarly, for Simpson 1/3 rule, note that now your subinterval has reduced because in each subinterval you have 2 patterns. Here you sum it from 1, because 1 in subinterval is from consists of 3 points. So when you sum it up, you have to take m is equals to 1, 3. Here it is 1, 2, 3. Here you take the odd values 1, 3, 5, and so on, and the maximum value is Imax minus 1. So when you sum it up, here in this case, let us suppose when you apply for 1, you get F1, F2, and here you get F3. Now when you apply for 3, again F3 appears here. So that way you have twice of it. The odd values have a coefficient 4. Sorry, the even values have a coefficient 4, whereas the odd values, the internal odd values, have a coefficient of 2. Whereas the first and the last point in the complete domain has a coefficient of 1. This is the final formula for the complete domain for the second order numerical integration, which is called as Simpson's quantization. Finally, I'll show you the application of this numerical differentiation and integration for the same problem for which we have obtained the numerical solution using iterative method in the previous lecture. In the previous lecture, we have taken this problem, which has an exact solution. The left wall, bottom wall, and right wall is maintained at an ambient temperature. The top wall is maintained at a different temperature, and we have defined a non-dimensional temperature theta, which is equal to T minus T infinity divided by TW minus T infinity. So theta is equal to 0 on the top, theta is equal to 0 on left, bottom, and right wall, and 1 in the top wall. So for this problem, in the previous lecture, we have obtained the temperature distribution, steady state temperature distribution. So for this topic, we will consider those steady state temperature distribution, and I will demonstrate the various orders of numerical differentiation and integration for the same example problem and present it in a tabular form. This is the expression. So I will show you numerical differentiation for obtaining the heat flux on the north wall. This is an expression for obtaining the heat flux on the north wall. Right now in this I am showing you 5 points, but in the next slide when I will show you, we will consider 11 points. When we consider 11 points, the internal grid points will be from 2 to 10, for which we will be calculating this using this formula to calculate the heat fluxes. Note that heat flux is minus k dt by dx, sorry, dt by dy. That dt by dy is converted into g theta by dy using the non-dimensional definition which I made. This is the expression that we will be using to calculate local heat fluxes on the north wall, where we will consider 11 points, and 1 and 11 will be the boundary corner points which do not appear in the computation, and from 2 to 10 I will show you the computation of the heat flux on the north wall or north boundary. So these are the points which are considered. So this is like a I equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So from 2 to 10, we will use this is corresponding to the north wall, north boundary, where theta is equals to 1. This is corresponding to the left boundary, where theta is equal to 0. This is the right boundary, where theta is equal to 0. So I am showing you the data which has been obtained as a steady state temperature distribution from the iterative solution in the previous topic. And this is the temperature distribution which we have got. Note that this temperature distribution is symmetric. Here you are getting 0.489, here also is 0.489. This is 0.6749, here also 0. So between the left half and the right half, the temperature distribution is symmetric because the boundary condition is symmetric. So if you use, let us suppose if you use at the north wall to calculate Qy, you want to calculate dt by dy. To calculate dt by dy, if you take 2 points, then you are basically doing first order backward differential. If you take 2 internal points and 1 boundary point, that is 3 points, then using this, if your formula involves these 3 values, then you can use a second order one-sided differencing, backward differencing. And if you use 4 points, here you can use third order backward differencing. So basically you can increase the number of points inside the domain, and you can use a higher order one-sided. Here it is a backward differencing to do numerical differentiation. Just to show you, to calculate dt by dy, here the backward differencing will involve temperature here minus temperature here divided by the distance between these 2 points. Similarly, I had shown you formulas when you have 3 points and 4 points for second order backward difference and third order backward difference. Let us suppose we are using second order backward difference. So using this 3 point, you can calculate heat flux here. This is like an animated representation of the data which are involved to do second order backward differentiation to calculate Qy at this point, which corresponds to I is equals to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But this from 2 to 10, those are 9 values. So you have 9 blue circle at the top wall. So you are not calculating at the corner points, and because it's a singularity point where you have 2 different values from the boundary condition. And for this 9 heat fluxes by numerical differentiation, you've obtained the local heat fluxes, and using this 9 values of heat fluxes later on by numerical integration, I will show you the values which you obtained from the trapezoidal and Simpson's quantum. So this table shows the results which have been obtained after developing a computer program for first order, second order, and third order numerical differentiation. Note that the values which you calculate for 2 and 10 are same, because in the previous slide I had shown you, this is I is equals to 2 and this is I is equals to 10. So nearby point for this and this are same. So heat fluxes for this and this, as I said, temperature distribution is symmetric. So the heat flux and heat flux will also be symmetric. So for 2 and 10, by first order, this is the value which has been obtained using the data which has been shown. And which has, the data which has been shown here is obtained from an iterative method which has been presented in the previous lecture. So using this data and developing a computer program by first order, second order, and third order numerical differentiation, these are the values of local heat fluxes which have been obtained, and so this table presents the results for the heat fluxes at the boundary grid points. And this points corresponds to the x location of 0.1, 0.9, and so on. Similarly, if you take this heat fluxes and do numerical integration, in the next slide I will show you. So whatever I showed you in the previous slide, this showed you a graphical representation where you have a symmetric variation of the heat fluxes between the left half and the right half. And so the red curve shows the first order numerical differentiation, green represents the second order numerical differentiation, backward differentiation, and the blue represents third order backward differentiation. Note that this figure is symmetric on the left half and the right half because the temperature distribution was symmetric. Using the heat fluxes, so you can take the local conduction heat fluxes at the top boundary grid point obtained by the application of first, second, and third order numerical differentiation. So, using the first order, if you do using the first order, these are the heat fluxes which you have obtained on the north wall. And using this data, if you do numerical integration by trapezoidal rule, you get this is the total rate of heat transfer. By Simpson's 1/3 rule, this is the total rate of heat transfer. If we take that numerical differentiation by second order, one backward differentiating, then these are the heat fluxes. When you use these heat fluxes to do numerical integration by trapezoidal rule, you get this answer. And by Simpson's 1/3, you get this value. So this shows by numerical integration, the total rate of heat transfer obtained by trapezoidal rule and Simpson's 1/3 rule using Three different heat type of heat fluxes. Heat flux is obtained by first order numerical differentiation, heat flux is obtained by second order numerical differentiation, and heat flux is obtained by third order numerical differentiation. Note that this numerical differentiation and integrations will be used in later topics after we obtain the fluid properties by finite volume method. So this numerical differentiation and integrations are used in the fourth step of CFD development, which is called as post-processing. With this, I have come to the end of this lecture. The details of this lecture can be found in the chapter 4 of the companion book on Introduction to CFD. Thank you for it.